one province is taking a first step toward ending Canada's immigrant detention system. The provinces frequently manage the incarceration of migrants with criminals on Ottawa's behalf. Advocates who believe the refugees' living conditions are inhumane and unjust are now putting pressure on the provinces to discontinue the agreement. The province of British Columbia is planning to evaluate its contract with the federal government to lodge immigration detainees in provincial jails. A move that campaigners hope will eventually halt the practice of holding migrants alongside violent criminals. The British Columbia government's initiative is the first triumph in a national drive to persuade governments to abandon immigration detention agreements with Ottawa. The organizers of the campaign hope that this will spread across Canada, particularly in Ontario, which has the biggest number of migrants in detention. More than 8,800 migrants were detained in Canada in 2019-20, with 5,265 being held in Ontario, where immigration detainees are housed in a dozen prisons, the largest of which is the Maplehurst Correctional Complex in Milton. The review of the agreement between British Columbia Corrections and the Canada Border Services Agency was revealed this week by the Office of British Columbia Public Safety Minister and Solicitor General Mike Farnworth. It will be finished in the summer of 2022. The framework and scope of the review are still being developed. In an email to the Star, a ministry official said, "British Columbia Corrections will lead the study and will work with both Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch." After a few of detainees jailed for immigration infractions died in custody a few years ago, Canada's immigration detention system came under fire. On administrative grounds, critics are particularly concerned about the use of provincial prisons to keep migrants among the general jail population, frequently for months, if not years, pending deportation from Canada. More than 70 correctional institutions across the country are utilized to house federal immigration detainees who are judged a flight risk or a danger to the public or themselves. For more than 3 decades, British Columbia and Ottawa have had an immigration detention arrangement. It's the first province to be targeted in a campaign to abolish the practice in Canada initiated by Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International last October. More than 5,700 people have written to Premier John Horgan's government in support of the organization's #Welcome to Canada campaign, which urges supporters to write to provincial leaders asking them to end their government's immigration detention arrangements with Ottawa. Immigration detention is not the focus of these facilities. They are made to make folks feel bad. You're dealing with a population that is most vulnerable, many of whom have escaped conflicts and endured trauma, and you simply lock them up in a maximum security prison, Human Rights Watch Sama Muscati explained. They have no scheduled release date and are frequently confined in solitary confinement. They are restrained by handcuffs. Constant surveillance and limits are in place. It has a significant negative impact on their mental health. Ralph Goodale, then Minister of Public Safety, presented a new national policy in 2016 to address long-standing complaints about the length and circumstances of immigration detention. $5 million was set aside in the proposal to expand alternatives to imprisonment through community supervision services such as better human and electronic monitoring mechanisms, such as performance bonds, monetary deposits, and electronic reporting systems. It also pledged $10.5 million to improve healthcare services, particularly mental health assistance. As a result of the slow pace of structural change, campaigners have decided to focus their efforts on the provinces and their contracts with the federal government. Targeting these contracts is considerably easier than our regular weapons for legislative reform, because all we need is 1 year's notice from the provinces to walk away from the deal, Muscati explained. It is not the province's job to detain migrants or to enforce border controls. They can just wash their hands of the situation and leave it up to the federal government to decide what to do next. So, why are they complicit in these human rights violations? Although the review by the British Columbia government is only the beginning, campaigners hope that it will spur other provinces to follow suit, according to Muscati. In Laval, Quebec, Surrey, British Columbia, and Toronto, The Canada Border Services Agency operates its own immigration holding centres. When its own facilities are overcrowded or an offender poses a threat to others, it uses provincial jails to detain immigration detainees from other provinces. Each detainee is paid between $200 and $250 per day by the agency. It's all too simple to blame others and let immigration prisoners slip through the gaps. No one wants to take responsibility for these human rights violations, Muscati said, adding that it's simple for Ottawa to wash its hands of the situation. You can claim, well, this person isn't in my institution, so I'm not accountable for him. Despite the Liberals' pledge to detain migrants solely as a last resort. A Human Rights Watch report released last year revealed that the number of people kept in immigration detention in Canada had continued to rise, including young children and those with mental health difficulties. More than 8,800 persons were arrested on immigration hold in 2019 to 20, up 41% from 6,268 in 2016 to 17. 138 of them were minors, with 73 under the age of 6. When the epidemic impacted the jailed population, however, provincial authorities began releasing inmates who had been detained for minor offences, as well as numerous immigration detainees. Only 1,605 migrants were detained by the border agency in 2020 to 21. If police were able to release so many people under COVID, we see that imprisonment wasn't being utilized as a final resort, Muscati added. Our main concern is that things will return to normal. Thanks for watching Telecom Record Entertainment. Please do remember to like, share and subscribe. Also view the links in description below.